Hi, and welcome to the homestead. We are in actually my studio to make pudding today. We're going to make homemade pudding, not the kind out of a box, the actual real homemade pudding. And it's very, very simple. I'm doing vanilla, so it's 6 ingredients. It's going to be goat's milk because that's what we have on hand. If you milk cows, get your cow's milk. It can be either. I need half a cup of sugar, and I use raw cane sugar, and it's organic. 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I also use organic there. 1 egg, slightly beaten. Go, get that from your chickens. I did cheat today. I have 2 tablespoons of butter, and this is cow's butter that I got from the store. And you're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla. This is my homemade vanilla with vanilla beans that I just stick in vodka and let them sit for a while, and then they get this beautiful gold color, and best ever. And I don't know, did I say 2 cups of goat's milk? Anyhow, you're going to need that. So what I have here is I start with a double boiler, and I have my water already boiling, and I have my milk already in the top part of the double boiler. So I'm just going to set that on there, and I'm going to mix the sugar, the egg, and the cornstarch with this milk. I'm making this, number 1, because my husband requested it, and number 2, because we know what is in it, and we don't know what's in those little boxes that people make. I honestly don't make those, but most people, when they think of making pudding, they think of the instant stuff. I believe you just add milk. I think that's all you add to it. And to me, that's just not pudding. And I think if you make your own, you're going to notice how good it really is. So I'm just mixing in all my ingredients, not all my ingredients, the egg, the starch, and the sugar into the milk. And the egg is slightly beaten before you put it in. Now you can do this directly on a stove if you're good. Me, I would burn everything, so I do the double boiler. Whenever I'm working with milk, for me, it's easier to heat up milk in a double boiler than it is directly on the stove, because if you're doing it directly on the stove, you got to stand there and watch it. And you still got to watch it even if you're doing it in a double boiler, but it's not as critical, and you're not going to burn it over, or it'll bubble up and come over if it's directly on heat and it gets a little too hot. So we're going to let that keep going until it gets nice and hot, and it will start to thicken because of the cornstarch being in there. Now typically what I do, I try to buy, if I'm going to buy ingredients, if we're not, obviously we're in Pennsylvania, we don't raise cane sugar here, so sugar I buy, and I always buy organic, and I buy the raw unprocessed. Anytime I buy things, I try to get the raw ingredient, and I try to get it unprocessed, and I try to get it organic. You can't always, for example, my butter is not organic. I'm a little upset about that. I didn't have time to make goat's butter, which would be the only type of butter I could make here because I don't have a cow. In our area, we're very, very rural. So finding organic products locally is very hard. Like my sugar, I actually order that and have it delivered. My anything that I buy that's organic, like my wheat berries, my spelt berries, all that stuff, I have to have it shipped in. We just don't have people in the area that do organic. Closest dairy that I know of that's organic is probably 2 hours away from me. So it's kind of just a little difficult. And we're so rural. We're actually 1 person for every 15 square acres. So we're not a huge community. I'm just going to keep stirring this. Turn this up a little bit. There we go. I don't know if you noticed, I do have a silicone mat down today. Well, I normally work on silicone mats all the time, but this one happens to be the one for making pies because I couldn't find the other one. And here, right before I started this, I found the other one. I actually have multiples of these stainless steel tables, which are great for doing, like, when you get into a lot of canning, these are great to work on because you can wheel them anywhere. If you need extra surface in your kitchen, just wheel them wherever you need them and use them. So I do have extra ones of these, and here my silicone mat is on the other one, which I have some pumpkins and some other squashes that are left over from last year sitting on top of them right now, trying to decide what I'm going to do with them. So that's what's on the other one, and that's where the other mat is. But if the reason I was talking about these silicone mats, if you have not used these yet, these are great because you can put them on any surface, and when you really, well, if you're messy like me, once they get dirty, you can just either put them into, well, I don't use a dishwasher, but I use the big dish pans. And you can let them soak in there if they need to soak, or you can just wash them in there and then just hang them up somewhere to dry, or just wipe them down and roll them up. I don't know if you can see this yet, but it is starting to thicken up. It is a little lumpy because I left the cream in there. It had already risen to the top, and all I did was shake it and try to get it back into the milk before I put it in here, because I didn't feel like scraping it off the top. But it is getting thicker and thicker. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. It'll taste nice and creamy. We milk Nigerian dwarfs, and they are extra creamy, 7 to 11% in some instances of butterfat, so very, very creamy milk. I don't know if I actually made my point with these silicone things. I like them because you can just wipe them off and shove them wherever. Great surfaces to work on, keep all your dirt in one area. This one's nice because it has all the lines for your pies, so if you need to know how wide to make your pie shell, you can just roll it out on here. See, I told you it would get thick, and this probably didn't take that long. Probably not much longer than that instant stuff, and you know everything that's in it, and it will taste so much more better than store-bought. So now I'm thinking that's about as thick as I want it to be. Let me shut the heat off. Your butter and your vanilla you add at the end. Here's the other nice thing about the silicone. It's the silicone sheets. They are good for, I believe, 500 degrees. Some of them are like 450, but you can set a pan on them. I'd be mindful if I had something underneath that could get damaged. But this is just stainless steel table underneath. And all I'm adding now is the butter. And you can add extra butter here if you want, because, you know, butter makes everything better. And I want to add a tablespoon of vanilla, and as you can see, I just kind of dump. And that was probably a little more than a tablespoon, but that's okay. I'll tell you what, once you start making your own vanilla, with your own vanilla beans, you won't buy that stuff in the store anymore because you'll become spoiled. I think that's about done. So now I can either serve this warm in like a dessert dish, or I can chill it and serve it cold. There we go, guys. Perfect. Must try, must try, must try. Oh yeah, perfect. I'm telling you, once you make this, you will never buy that boxed crap again. This is so good. So I hope you try it. If you want the recipe, I will have everything typed out for you. I always do. Just click on the link, go to my website, and I will try to also have the PDF there. If you just want to print out the PDF, then you have it on file or save it on your computer, whatever you want to do there. So thanks for joining me. Oh, make it a great day. Bye.